Alright, you beautiful souls. Welcome back. This will be, I believe, part 7 to What If Deku Was a Quirkless Female. And if you guys haven't realized yet, this is my take on the whole King and Asura. There's been other YouTube what ifers that have done a King and Asura related what if. So there's one YouTube whatever that did what if Deku was the inheritor of Nico style. There's another guy who recently stopped doing YouTube and kind of like privated his channel because of like COPPA laws and stuff like that. He's having to deal with some of those issues. I think that's why, or his videos got copy striked or something. And then what was the other one? But there's a few YouTube whatevers that have done a King and Asura X My Hero Academia. Mine's a little bit different than that. So back to the part. So in the last part, we ended it with like Katsuki basically reaffirming that he's still her friend and everything, and Izuka kind of expressing that her relatives aren't necessarily good people. At least not. At least the family that she doesn't know about, and like a couple that she's had run-ins with in the past. But from like her grandpa down, are like the rest of her family is pretty much what she's tries to explain to Katsuki, and Katsuki just reaffirmed that he still will be like her friend and everything. And so now we cut to the start of the anime. Yes, I know, 6 parts, and we didn't even get into the anime yet. Besides like the whole first couple of minutes of like episode 1, and I think like the first few pages, like the first little bit of chapter 1 in the manga. So we cut to the day in school, and teachers doing their what is it called? It's called, it's like the career aptitude thing that what happens in canon. So the teacher just throws the papers up and well, these are kind of redundant because I know if you want to go to the hero course. At least most of you do. So these are kind of useless, and everyone's doing like showing off their quirks and everything, and you just hear like Izuka says like, "Teach, aren't we?" Like, no, you don't hear. Izuka doesn't say that. That's a different part. The teacher's like, now, kids, I know you're excited, but no quirk usage in school, remember? And the teacher's like, and it looks like 2 of you want to go to UA. And this is when Katsuki pipes up like he does in canon, and he's like, Sensei, don't lump us in with these losers. Like, all these are second-rate. All these guys will be second-rate heroes. Because the only person in the class that Katsuki really sees as like an equal is Izuka, for obvious reasons, and there's also underlying things that neither of them really like comprehend yet. So the whole conversations with Katsuki goes like, yeah, these guys are a bunch cut rate, and then everyone's like, let me guess, the quirkless girl's gonna try out too. And this is when like the kid's desk who said something, just it kind of collapses like right in front of him, and he just it kind of cracks a little bit. And the kid is just like looks over and is like, what did you do that for? And the teacher's like, now, I said no more quirk usage in class, and if anyone else uses their quirk one more time, you're going to get expelled. Teacher's just kind of thinking, it's like, oh God, thank God this year's almost over. Thank God this year's almost over, and those two will be out of my class. Ugh. Because Izuka and Katsuki are, let's just say, they get good grades, but they're problem childs of like the classroom. Like they don't really listen to the teacher. Like a lot of the times Izuka is just sitting in the back of the class, like with her feet on the desk, just sleeping, like, and she doesn't really pay attention to the teacher. She's literally just there just to be there. It's not like she'll really learn anything from this guy in 6 months. She's just there to waste time and then get a regular high school diploma. Get a regular, like, middle school education like her mom wants her to. Even though she's already, like, at a high school equivalent stage, and in some areas a little bit higher than normal, just through the whole reasons of how she was trained and everything. So Katsuki comes up to Izuka like after class is over with, and they're talking, and two of Bakugo's friends walk up and ask him, and Izuka's sitting there, and they ask him, he's like, yo bro, you want to hang out today? And Katsuki's like, no, like I was gonna. And they're like, what, like usual you're gonna hang out with Izuka, with Midoriya? And Bakugo's, it's not like that, because they're kind of goading him and everything. And then Izuka like stands up and is like, look, Hachimon, like, say hang out with your friends, man. I'm gonna go for a jog and release some stress. I've been a little pent up lately. And Katsuki's like, it definitely involves like your grandfather, right? And Izuka's like looks at him and smiles and is like, And he's like, okay, are we still on this weekend for the gym? And Izuka's like, yeah, definitely. Like, I can't miss out on like my weekly competitions with you. As she like kind of grin, like this snarky grin comes across her face, and Cox was like, what is that? Like, Katsuki Baka is like, what is that supposed to mean, you nerd? You damn nerd. And some of the kids in the classroom, like, mostly the girls, just like, what the heck is going on with those two? Like, they're super friendly with each other. Like, they're on a first name basis, but, like, they kind of act like dicks towards each other a little bit. But in a weird way that it makes like sense. It's almost sickening to the point, just like watching the two interact with each other, because one minute like they can be all buddy, and then the next minute they're at each other's throats. But then it's like that's just how they are with each other, you know. It'd be like your best friend. Like, you got, like, when you hang out with like your best friend in the world, like your friend that one of your friends that knows you like really well, you guys are constantly like joking with, like you guys joke with each other from time to time. And that's kind of what Izuka and Katsuki do with each other. So back to the story. So Katsuki's like, okay then. So I see you. Tomorrow morning then. So Katsuki and his friends leave, and Izuka gets puts her belongings together, and she goes to the school's gymnasium and gets changed into like her jogging gear, which is basically just like a tank top, like a sleeveless, not a sleeveless tank top because those are like a wife beater. It's kind of like it's an outfit that's kind of like the sports vessel outfit. It's not really thick and cumbersome, but it's more so for breathing. And she basically wears like this shirt so that it basically covers up her scar, even though like she has like a normal workout shirt on underneath it. So then she grabs like headphones out of her bag and puts them on, and then she starts jogging through the city. And when she's told Katsuki that she needs to let off a little steam, Katsuki's like, I'm not going to be able to keep up with you if you're going to be running. And a light jog for Izuka is like Katsuki like really running. And Izuka being like that much faster than him, better skilled in martial arts because she trained several years more than he has. Like she has like legitimate like actual tutelage from like a master martial artist, whereas Katsuki's more of like the hand-to-hand combat that he's learned, I think, has been more just being like a problem kid, like getting into fights and stuff like that. So we cut to Izuka like jogging through the city and everything, and she ends up like stopping and helping like a few elderly people crossing the street and everything. And unbeknownst to her, she is being watched by a few people, and so she just keeps going on, and she's jogging and everything. And it's a few hours have passed, and like she's jogging, and then she hears some explosions. She's like, "Whoa, what's going on over there?" And so she runs over, and she sees it's a villain attack, and she's like, "Whoa, I wonder what like heroes and like what kind of villain this is," and like, "Oh my god, that's so disgusting looking villain." So now we cut over to yeah, it was light out in canon, then it was towards the sunset. So I'm gonna say it's only been like an hour or so from when Izuka and Katsuki had an hour and a half. It's been 2 hours because we'll say the whole interactions in canon with Izuka and the Sludge villain, the first interaction, and All Might, and then her getting there from the school had been like an hour, and then Katsuki had. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. So it's been like an hour and a half since like she started like her jog. So now we cut over to Katsuki's what was happening with Katsuki. With Bakugo, for those of you, because I like using the first names when I'm doing this, because there are some what ifs where I've had like Mitsuki Bakugo and Mazura Bakugo in it, like my breakout, and then another one. So just saying Bakugo can get confusing, so I use like first names when it's there needs to be like clear definition, and Izuku and Katsuki, like Hanchan, I've gotten used to just saying the first name. So Katsuki's like hanging out with his friends, and like they're kind of joking with him. It's like, so do you like Midoriya? She is kind of cute and everything. And Katsuki's like, dude, that's nothing like that. We've just known each other since we were babies. Moms are really good friends, and we've been sparring and working out with each other. And they're like, oh, she lifts weights, and they're like, it must not be that much. She is kind of small. When Katsuki in the back of his mind is like, no, you guys are fucking idiots. You have no fucking clue how strong she is. And it kind of like, Katsuki's like, man, it kind of pisses me off that she's so damn strong. So that whole interaction where they're walking through the alleyway and everything, we're gonna say All Might didn't, because the whole interaction with Izuku and All Might with the first Sludge villain doesn't actually take place. So what I'm doing is, All Might has like used up his time limit, like chasing this villain, and he's like, I can't find, like, so the Sludge villain stopping where Izuku was didn't happen, so the Sludge villain was able to get away from All Might momentarily, and All Might like wasted his time limit chasing this dude. So for now. So Katsuki and his friends are walking through like an alley, and like they get attacked by a villain, and it just so happens to be the Sludge villain. So the Sludge villain is like, which one of you flesh bags are going to be my new bodysuit? And it's just like in a really raspy voice, like, which one of you boys are gonna be my new bodysuit? Though I am gonna have to kill the other ones. And this immediately gets Bakugo into like a stance. Like he's ready to fight, because he's been trained for a few years in hand-to-hand combat through martial arts, and not to the extent that Izuka has done, but still he can handle himself in a fight if he needs to. And his other friends are scared off, and the Sludge monster like launches at them, but Bakugo just sticks up both of his hands, and like creates an explosion, like a decent sized explosion. And this was the explosion that initially attracted Izuka. And, buddy, things aren't going to turn out well for the Sludge villain in this one. He's going to get more royally fucked up than what he did in the canon. Excuse me. So Katsuki gets up and produces like explosions. And they're stronger than what he's able to do, like, in canon at this point. Just because of the added training and stuff that he's done. So he tells his friends, like, they need to get out of here right now. Like, I'll hold him off. And they're like, we can't leave you here. And Bakugo just turns to him. He's like, look, get out of here now. Your guys' quirks aren't suited for combat. You need to run. That's the best thing you can do. I'll try to hold him off as long as I can. Go get a hero. So his friends run off, and they get like they do like a couple minutes pass, and they do find like heroes. But at this point, Bakugo and the Sludge villains fight has sprung out into like the shopping district, and Bakugo tries to like blast the Sludge villain away from him, but he ends up failing. He ends up tripping as like as he's running, as he's like moving backwards, and it kind of like blasts, like his explosion kind of like blasts like a store sign and creates like small like damages to the property. And this gives the Sludge villain enough time to like capture Bakugo. So the whole scenario with them fighting it out in like the shopping district where Bakugo is letting off explosions. That all is like happening. Like the first explosion, like Izuka's like, oh, that's kind of, wonder what that was. And then like she started hearing like other explosions, so that's what drew her to come upon like the scene that we now find ourselves at. So Izuka is like is moving her, making her way through to the front of the area, and she's like, I smell blood. Like what? Like she's like, it smells like someone's bleeding. Like someone hurt, and she's looking around, and she's like, in any case, what kind of villain is over here? And she's like, ew, that thing's disgusting. What is that? And then everyone's like, look at that, he has a kid. And like the pros are trying to fight this thing, and guy that has like the knuckles, I believe it was the same guy that Uraraka went to an internship with, and I will figure out his name because I can't say it right now, and I'll add it into the next part. Basically, the recap section of the video, the little recap section that I do with my videos. I'll throw it into that one. So they're like, our attacks are ineffective, and like they just get standing there, and Mizuka's like thinking to herself, should I help them out? Like, no, like it's illegal, and I'll probably get in trouble with mom and grandpa. And so she's just sitting here thinking that, and then like after they say like she hears like the hero say, it's like, God damn it, we can't do anything. Our quirks aren't suited to fight this thing. We gotta wait until a better suited hero comes along. And she hears the hero say, it's like, I'm sorry, kid, like you gotta hang in there longer. And at this point, this is when she catches a glimpse of who's caught by the Sludge villain. And when her eyes meet Katsuki's, a switch in her brain flips, and all of a sudden, everyone in the immediate vicinity, including our favorite hero, feels someone radiating some bloodlust. Which is the best way to explain it. It's like, if you ever come across like a carnivorous wild animal and everything, like sometimes you'll note like ones that are aggressive and everything, you can kind of feel like the aggression in the air. And it's not it's not like Conqueror's Haki or something like that, or Bloodlust, Binding, which is what Stain used in like the anime. So This switch flipped in Izuka's head, and all of a sudden, her eyes are one. So all of a sudden, her eyes look like this, and she immediately starts grabbing at her. Like, she immediately just, like, without thinking, as soon as her eyes saw that it was Katsuki, she just couldn't stop herself. She had to act because, unlike in canon, you know how Izuku was like, it's Kachon, like he's acting like he needs help. But in this one, Izuka just sees her friend in trouble, and none of the pro heroes are helping out, and she doesn't know if she can help out either. But she can't just let, like in canon, like canon Deku let Katsuki die. So she just starts walking towards this thing, and the pros like go to like stop her, and she basically just holds up a hand and undoes a couple of straps around these long arm things that seem like they are like gauntlets, and then she just throws it down. She basically just let it drops off of her arm. It falls, creates a small crater. She undoes like these straps on the other arm. It falls, and then she basically like undoes straps around her legs as she's walking towards the Sludge villain, and all the while the Sludge villain's like, "Don't come any closer, I'll kill the kid." And Bakugo, like in his head, is like, "No, I've got to give her some more time. She's not gonna make it at this rate." And like Kanski's just thinking, "It's like, I've got to do it. One last explosion of a big turtle. Gotta make it as big as I can." And he starts creating, like doing something that he never done before. He starts creating explosion after explosion in like a quick succession, which kind of like is hurting the Sludge villain a little bit. Basically, not like, and then a jet of fire shoots out and goes over the rest of the party member, the rest of like the onlookers and everything. And when I say walk, she's walking, like for her it's like a slightly fast-paced walking. For everyone else's perception, she's kind of running. And they just see like these things hitting the ground. And when she gets, like in canon, she throws her bag at the Sludge villain, and everyone just feels like a slight gust of wind as this thing not only hits the Sludge villain, like her bag doesn't not only hit the Sludge villain, but it goes through its eye, basically making the eyeball go pop. And this causes the Sludge villain to reel out in pain, like more so than in canon. In canon, it was just a little like bump on the eye. No, and this, like, it has a lot more force behind it because she just took off her restraints, which keeps her from like breaking shit when she like walks or like when she's running, because like she has like it's constantly putting like more strain on her body, so she's not exhibiting great deals of force unknowingly. Like she has, it keeps her thinking, okay, I need to use this much force to do this. Like if she doesn't have them on, it can cause some issues when she goes to like grab things. because she has like numbed her nerve endings a little bit, so she doesn't have that good of sensation for like topical touching, like with her hands, her fist, and like her forearms, like shins, like calves and like thigh muscles, because like doing like basically she got her ass beat and like killing nerve endings and stuff. So like these weights kind of like give her like some feeling into those areas, so she knows like how much force she's using. And so she threw the backpack, and then like everyone just hears a loud pop as like part of the sludge villain's body just like disappears into like a mist. And the pop they heard was the sludge villain's eyeball actually exploding on from like the force of the impact. And as this is happening, like Kachan is like creating these explosions, and Yizuka just yells out, "Kachan, now!" And with one final explosion that Katsuki can like use, Izuka has like grabbed him and is pulling while he creates an explosion. See, she could get him out of there, but she would dislocate something or rip something off at this point. So she like grabbed, like basically jams her arm into like the sludge villain, like her arms into the sludge villain, and she's grasping Katsuki around like his waist, and she's pulling, and she tells him now. And Kachan, like, he creates the biggest explosion that he's done so far, and this not only frees him and sends Izuka and him flying back, but it also creates like, it basically splatters the sludge villain all over the place. And all the heroes are amazed at this, but then they realize there's someone else standing there with like this big grin on his face. And everyone's like, it's All Might. All Might's here. But he didn't do anything but those kids, but All Might was there, so they would have been safe. Oh my god. So like the public is like noticeably fangirling and fanboying out because it's All Might's there. And they're like double like excited because these two kids just did something that like pros weren't able to do. And All Might shows up like right there. And then, in the moment of confusion, All Might looks down at these two, and Izuka's just looking up, like, kind of like, it's All Might. And then he looks at her, and he's like, "Young girl, close your eyes, now." And she's like, "What's going on?" And it's like, "Do what I say, close your eyes now. Don't let the public see it." Because in All Might's, so now we cut over to where All Might's perspective of this whole situation. He's seen this girl run in with what it seems like a strength quirk, and it's not really situated, but she was able to create an opportunity so that the boy was captured, could actually could release himself. And right, because All Might like hadn't ran up his time, but seeing this young child like acting when like the other heroes weren't, without in actually going to save someone, caused him this like, "I gotta do it. I've gotta go beyond my limit. I've gotta go plus ultra." So within the time it took All Might to react, and Izuka doing what she did, by the time by the time All Might gets there, Izuka and Katsuki are flying back while the Sludge villain is getting basically splattered, and All Might like went in to like do a Detroit smash at the same time and go grab him, but then kind of got knocked back a little bit from the explosion, and the Sludge villain is knocked out. So, like in canon, the pros are complimenting Bakugo for like how brave he was, and then kind of reaming Izuka for like what she did was reckless and everything. And then everyone like notices like those things. There's like some like indentation in the ground where they drop, and some of the public are trying to pick them up and everything, and like they can't. And this is when All Might goes and picks them up and everything. And Izuka is like just thinking like, wait, does All Might know about my family? Because he saw her eyes and told her to close her eyes. So, in All Might's thinking, like in his eyes, like he's thinking, wow, is she part of that? Is she like, she's part of that family, like, but she's saving someone. So that's what got All Might to like really react. Sorry, and Izuka is sitting there thinking, like, does he know about my family? Like, why did he tell me to close my eyes? And Bakugo just kind of walks over to Izuka and is like, tells the heroes like, dude, shut up. Like, if it wasn't for her, I would be dead right now. So you can just piss off a little bit. And he like tells Izuka, like, let's go. Like, our moms are probably gonna be like, are probably worried about us because most likely this is gonna get broadcasted on the news. I already hear about it from my mom. And then Izuka's like, yeah, my mom's probably gonna like freak out too with everything that happened with Grandpa last month. And so like Izuka and Katsuki make their way home. All Might finishes up with the media and jumps away. So we cut to like an hour. We cut to a couple like an hour and a half to 2 hours after the Sludge villain attack, and they walk, like they're walking, and they part way, and the whole time Katsuki's been quiet, kind of grumbling, and then Izuka's like, Kachan, what's up? Like, you haven't said a word since we left like alley. And he turns to Izuka and he's like, thanks. Like, I don't know how to like thank you. Probably didn't need your help anyway, you damn nerd, but thanks anyway. And Izuka's like, wow, are you actually complimenting me, Kachan? Like, that's so not you. And Katsuki's like, fine, I won't compliment you. God, why do you have to make things so damn difficult to speak sometimes? And Izuka's like, whoa, fine then there. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and Katsuki's like, it's fine. And then Izuka's like, how about this? Remember you didn't tell anyone that you helped me out back when I started school. So we'll just call this even. And Katsuki kind of smiles. It's like, yeah, right. And like they do like their handshake that they have, which is just like a fist bump, and says, I guess we should probably skip tomorrow, right? And this is when Katsuki's like,
pulling on his shoulder and everything, and like rotating his arm around. And Izuka's like, yeah, I think may have overdid it, and I think I broke a strap or two, so I've got to get those replaced. And so Katsuki walks away, and then All Might shows up in his Small Might form. Or no, he's in his large form, and he's like, young girl, I would like to speak with you for a moment. Didn't get a chance back there at that incident, and the conversation you and that young boy were having, sorry, but I overheard it a little bit. And I thought it would be kind of rude to interrupt you, but I have something I want to talk to you about. And he's like, All Might, what are you doing here? And so All Might says, I wanted to speak with you. And the conversation goes similar to what it does in canon. All Might basically asks her, like, and then after the whole initial shock of meeting All Might, Izuka's like, All Might, are you hurt? And All Might just immediately deflates, and he's like, how'd you know about that kid? And I didn't even say it yet. And Izuka's like, well, I've smelled blood. I've smelled like coagulated blood before, and my senses are a little bit more developed than normal. And All Might's like, that's interesting. So you're not freaked out about this? And Izuka's like, yeah, like, why would I be freaked out that your body changed? Obviously, it makes sense if you're that badly hurt. And Izuka's like, and her senses aren't like superhuman. It would be like you can train your attention to details in a certain way, and that's what she's done because she was trained a little bit in how to be an assassin. So All Might's like, so is that part of your quirk and everything? And Izuka's like, no, it's just like just the way my family is. And All Might's like, so your family's like that. And All Might is thinking, and then Izuka kind of is looking down and everything at this point, and All Might's like, what's wrong, young lady? And she's like, well, you've always been like my favorite hero, and I've always wanted to be a hero like you, but I'm effectively quirkless. And this catches All Might's attention, and he's like, what do you mean quirkless? And then Izuka's like, oh crap. And so she's like, well, it's kind of a secret. I do play it off as like part of a quirk. And he's like, you mean that the way that your eyes were changing colors? And Izuka's like, what do you mean? And it's like, back when the Sludge villain was like, had your friend captive and everything, when you were running in, your eyes were black with white irises. And I've ran into a few people with eyes like that. Not so good. Like back when I was in America, I ran into a guy once that had eyes like that. Tough bastard. But from what I've gathered, he was hurt recently, and it's why I'm part of the reason why I'm in this part of the country and not in Tokyo. But also, after seeing you that day, I have an offer for you. Since you seem you're quirkless, and it seems like you have the heart of a hero, I want to offer you my quirk. And he's looking like, what are you? All Might, I don't know what to say, but like, I don't deserve it, and it'd also mess up with it. I wouldn't be able to use my family's abilities. It would basically the mutation in our family. If you have a quirk and everything, you can't really access it. And then she looks down again, and All Might's like, young lady, like, is there any other reason why? And she's like, All Might, I have a question for you. Like, you've offered me your quirk and everything, but another reason why I don't feel like I deserve it. And he's like, what do you mean by that? Like, you obviously have the heart of hero. But then she's like, yeah, but I kind of have blood on my hands. And almost, what do you mean? And she's like, well, when I was a few years ago, me and my grandpa were attacked when we were out camping one day. And so, and she's like, and then looks at him and is like, well, I guess since you showed me yours, I guess I'll show you mine. And Izuka begins to like lift her shirt up, and it's like, yo, young lady, don't undress in front of me like you're a kid. Kind of having like freaking out because like a girl's starting to pull up her shirt in front of him, and it's a minor, and he's a hero, so. And Izuka's like, it's not that, All Might. And she's like, look. And she's only pulled it up a little bit. And he sees a scar. And she's like, that goes from about here all the way down. And All Might's, so you were attacked by a villain? And Izuka's like, you can say that. Me and my grandpa were attacked, and I had to defend myself. And I've been trained in martial arts, and I accidentally caved the guy's skull in when he cut me. Because as I was going to go kick, he like sliced me with his sword, and it threw off my balance, and I accidentally hit him in the temple and killing him. And Izuka's like starts to like freeze up. And All Might's a little shocked by this. That he just told someone a secret. Like he just told someone about like One For All and everything, and like the type, and he's like, well, young lady, if still, like, you were defending yourself, and I've never been in a situation where I've gone that far, but from what you've told me, it was an accident, right? You didn't want to you didn't want to take the guy's life, right? And Izuka's like, yeah, definitely, I don't want to kill anyone. And All Might's like, hey, so what about that? What about those weights? Because they were pretty hefty. And she's like, oh yeah, I've kind of broken like a few of the straps. I'm gonna have to get them replaced and everything. And All Might's like, well, how much weight was that? And she's like, oh, like the gauntlets and the leggings were kind. I'm up to 200 kg, so that would make them like what, 35 kilograms a piece. And All Might's just like, what? You would be perfect, but so if you don't want my quirk, at least let me train you. And then Izuka's like thinking, it's like, oh my, if I don't, like, I can't really use your quirk because I'd either have to use either or, and it could probably mess up like my immune system because of how my family's abilities work. Like the stuff that I inherited from like my grandfather. So, and she's like, it could potentially like they could potentially cancel each other out. and I would be effectively quirkless, and I wouldn't have the oh god, all those chemicals that my body produces. I wouldn't have the right biology to be able to stand my family's certain traits. So, if I think I know someone that can. So All Might did go in and did offer to train her, and Izuka agreed. And then before All Might leaves, Izuka's she's like, All Might, I think I have the right. I think I know someone that would be a good fit for you, for your quirk. And All Might's like, oh really? Well, if you think they would be a good fit, and bring them by to this location next weekend. I have a few things that I need to take care of while I'm in town before that happens, before I can really get to training you. And then Izuka's like, okay, and oh my, yes, young lady, yes, young lady. And Izuka's like, well, no, never mind. It's not really important. And All Might's like, well, I hope to see you, young lady. You definitely have what it takes to be a hero, and you're this strong without a quirk, so may not be able to be the best hero, but you'll definitely be able to be a good hero. So with that, this video is coming up on 52 minutes. I apologize for the stuff, but I had some stuff happen yesterday, and I'm still in kind of a mood, and my stuttering has gotten a little bit big, so I've been looping in thoughts. Thank you guys for all the new subs that have subbed to the channel. I apologize I didn't put anything out yesterday, but I had a couple of things happen with my vehicle and everything. So just dealing with taking it to the mechanic and filing an insurance claim and getting all that stuff taken care of kind of took up my day yesterday, and I'm finally getting to the recording the next day. So that being said, I'm ending it here, and I will comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you guys I will see you beautiful souls in the next episode.